UNC made an addition out of the transfer portal. They're first. Jonathan Powell, they're first this year, by the way. Jonathan Powell from West Virginia. If you're unfamiliar with the West Virginia basketball team, he is a 6'6" freshman this past year. Averaged 8.3 points and 3.1 rebounds per game this season. So role player, right? And definitely not a superstar. But he made 63 threes, which led all freshmen in the Big 12 conference. So the thing he brings is size, right? 6'6" on the wing. That's legit size, and shooting ability. I wouldn't say that is the signing that would get your fan base worked up into a lather, right? That's not the one that other transfers are seeing and going, well, if Powell's there, I want to go play alongside him. Not exactly that. Matter of fact, I asked UNC fans on Twitter, I put it out there, I said, how do you feel about the addition, right? Primetime Harrison said, I like it. Perfect backup 2 or 3, right? Perfect backup shooting guard or small forward. My guy Cornelius, who interacts a lot on social media, said solid depth for sure. That's the gist. Right? It is bringing in a depth piece, which is good. You need that, right? You wouldn't say the guys Duke brought out of the portal were superstars by any stretch, but they ended up being the right players. So if you're hitting on the right players, it works. If he ends up being the star of the class, I think those I love it, are going to end up being what the hex. But for right now, with so much time left in the transfer portal, with so much offseason ahead of you, you do like it, right? If he ends up being a complimentary shooter, love it. Love it. I say it all the time. Lefty relievers, edge rushers, and shooters. You can't have too many. Never once heard a GM in basketball go, the one thing we need, less spacing on the floor. Less guys that can knock down a 3. I'm kind of looking at this as the same way we talk about Adam Thielen with the Panthers, where it's like, if he's your wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, gosh, he's a great player to have on your team. If he's your wide receiver 1, I start to get really concerned about how dynamic your offense can be. If Jonathan Powell is your 4th best incoming transfer, 3rd best incoming transfer, with some great freshmen coming in, and I love it. A shooter, a 6'6" shooter, beautiful. If he's the centerpiece of your class, you're going to feel underwhelmed. So to quote the late, great quote, Kobe, job finished, job not finished. I don't think so. Right? This is just UNC building, maybe from the outside in, meaning from the role player to the star. But it does add a little bit of pressure to making sure you get your stars. Because the names we're seeing linked to UNC would draw more buzz. Arizona transfer, 7-footer Henry Vasar. He's reportedly scheduled to visit with UNC. If you don't know that name off the top of your head, look up Vasar Dunk Duke anywhere on social media, because he did just in the NCAA tournament played against Duke and jammered on him with some athleticism for a 7-footer, legit 7-footer. About a 10-6 guy this year with opportunity for more. Elon transfer guard Nick Dorn is reportedly setting up a visit to UNC. That's another player that would bring more sizzle, right? It has more games where he scored in bunches than a player like Powell. UNC has been linked to, I haven't seen a visit set up anywhere, but has been linked to BYU guard Cannon Catchings, which is a player with some pedigree. The other thing that I thought was interesting about all of this, right? Because yesterday we talked about, is UNC going to be an attractor of talent, or are they going to be a team that just tries to hold on as much as they can to the talent already within their program? At 2 o'clock today, Michelle Steele of ESPN wrote an article for ESPN.com, and I thought this was interesting. Basketball players. I'm just gonna read the first sentence. Ready? Directly from Michelle Steele, hat tip to her. Basketball players continue to dominate name, image, and likeness deals, with North Carolina's R.J. Davis and USC's Juju Watkins leading all male and female athletes in endorsements over the past 12 months. according to a new report from sponsorship data company Sponsor United. RJ Davis, according to this article and according to the data from Sponsor United, led all male athletes with 25 NIL deals. Now,
it's a lot.
It is. I did think it was interesting that it appears this study was done on the number of deals, not the value of deals. Right? So that's not saying he made the most money in the NIL portal, at least not the way I read the article. But it is saying the most companies have partnered with him, which in part would be his willingness to do so as well.
Sure.
The super duper stars with the giant social media followings, like there's no doubt in my mind Cooper Flagg, he could name however many NIL deals he wants, but he's probably more selective and gets some higher money ones.
Yeah, he has Gatorade, New Balance.
What else do you need, right?
Yeah.
But that's not to say all of RJ Davis's are like, mom and pop shops where he's, trading a Twitter post for hamburgers every Thursday. Like he's definitely made some cash as well. What I took it as is UNC is still a brand, right? And you can sell that to portal members. Right? Even if your collective isn't coming with a giant amount of money, agents, right? Because these players have agents now, right? It's not just how much can you ask for. It's also your agent. And an agent can be honest with you, right? It's no different than like a free agent in the NFL might take $50,000 less to play for the Dallas Cowboys than he would to play for the Minnesota Vikings, with the idea that his agent is saying, if you start for the Dallas Cowboys, I'll make you $500,000 more in endorsements. Right? That kind of stuff matters. UNC still is a brand name. RJ Davis had more NIL deals, according to data company Sponsor United, than anyone else in college basketball. And that's including like the ones who are famous for more famous' sake, the Cavender twins from University of Miami women's basketball and those types. So there's still something to sell there. You just got to tell the agent, like, come to UNC. We'll get you X amount from our NIL deal. Then you got to do your job to benefit off of this giant brand that we have that you're going to be a part of. And oh, by the way, we're filling out the roster in a nice way. We already have a shooter for you. We got Jonathan Powell, right? He'll be standing in the corner making sure that when you drive to the bucket, the opposing team can't crash on you because there's a shooter in the corner. Jonathan Goodman of the Field of 68 called Jonathan Powell a gravity player. And what he meant by that was you have to stick with him, right? You can't run away because he will knock down the shot. That's fun to play with. It's the same thing as, again, edge rushers, right? You can't have too many of them. Shooters can't have too many of them. Tell a corner you're going to play with a great edge rusher. He'll be excited because it makes his job easier. I don't have to guard for as long because he's getting to the quarterback. I don't have to beat as many double teams because this shooter is going to keep defenders away from me. Right now, what's the term? I took physics in high school. Kinetic energy, I believe it is.
Yes, go on.
That's like held energy, right? The potential energy, I believe. Static. There is a term for energy that is like possible, right? It's potential energy. Right now, UNC has a lot of that, a lot of potential energy, right? It's built up there. I think you can make a great pitch to transfer portal top dogs. But potential and, $8 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. It's not worth anything until you execute on it. It's not worth a darn thing until you execute on it. And if you know what type of energy I'm talking about, physics class was a long time ago for me. You can go ahead and send it to me at Donnelly Sports on Twitter.
Yeah, kinetic energy is when you're in motion. Static is when
energy?
You are accumulating energy.
I'll look it up, or maybe someone will help me. I don't think that's it, but we'll see. I'm not gonna worry myself with it now. Sorry, Mr. Stearns, my physics teacher from junior year, a million years ago.